Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you'll be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, also at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, and of course, wherever audio podcasts can be found. If you're listening to us in the audio realm, do us a huge favor, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. It really goes a long way towards helping grow Going in Raw. On today's episode, we got a bunch of reviews and rundowns of AEW Battle of the Belts, AEW Rampage, WWE Smackdown after WrestleMania, plus we got a ton of news about Drew McIntyre and his plans for what may be next. Where has he been? Vince McMahon,
where is he going?
Where is he going? And of course, Vince McMahon, which of course, Larson, is sort of like the big question on everybody's mind, how much involvement Vince McMahon is going to have in WWE Creative. We'll get to that in just a second. But first up, let's talk about Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
Earlier this month, PW Insider reported that Drew McIntyre's WWE contract was set to expire shortly, and they haven't been able to come to terms on a new deal. WWE and Drew McIntyre, not PW Insider. After Drew,
that'd be a huge get for PW Insider.
Maybe Going in Raw would have a shot. Does he accept baloney?
Then if so, then absolutely.
I require 15 tons of baloney. Deal. After Drew was pulled from Friday Smackdown, Wade Keller reported, and these transcripts come to you via WrestlingNews.co. He said this. We alluded to this, and there's been kind of talk. We alluded to this, that there's been talk that he is unhappy with his current situation in WWE. And I'm hearing it's kind of a mix of creative and money and what kind of offer he's getting for a renewal. It sounds like WWE is taking seriously the possibility that he's going to let his deal run out rather than agree to something that he believes is less than he deserves or less than what he thinks he has coming. There's a chance that he was pulled from SmackDown in part because he is just really physically beat up from that match, talking about the Mania one. And so just not having to travel and him getting a day off was sort of given to him either at his request or the medical team. And WWE just said, yeah, with what he's been through, he should have some time off. Now, amidst rumors that Drew's deal could expire in time for him to appear at AEW's All In London show at the end of August, the Wrestling Observer himself, Dave Meltzer, reports that McIntyre's deal expires well after the Wembley Stadium shows, and added these transcripts come to you via Wrestle Talk. Well, you can consider All In and All Out 2 shows. He says this: whatever it is was there before WrestleMania because he worked through WrestleMania, ended the WrestleMania match with whatever this situation is, the injury or the banged up or whatever. He was getting through doing WrestleMania. I don't know how long he's going to go out or anything like that, but that's the situation. And there's the other situation, which is the contract, which isn't really related to this, but has gotten out this week. And that's legit too, in the sense that they're not close on money. It's a long ways away. I hear people going like, oh, he's going to be at Wembley show. And it's like, I don't have the date, but I don't think that's contractually possible. I think that his contract runs well past that date.
Yeah, so I believe Fightful Select said that Drew's contract has 9 months left on.
Okay.
Which would take him to the end of the year.
That's a long ways out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When these reports first started popping up about, Drew's contract expiring on the horizon. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense from a business perspective for him to wait, to be on the verge, or to enter free agency to see what kind of money he can get elsewhere before taking whatever WWE just offers him. Yeah. And if he's got a certain number in mind that he thinks he's worth, then that's what he should strive to get, and not accept whatever WWE is going to give him. I mean, Fightful Select had a thing where talent believes that there's a bit of a hiring freeze going on in WWE right now. Yeah. And that might have been why Jay White didn't sign there. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's terribly uncommon for when companies are in the process of trying to get acquired or merged that they cut expenses a lot. Mm-hmm. And seemingly part of that was not hiring any new talents. Now, whether that has anything to do with Drew getting a number for WWE that he's not happy with, don't know. But, given what he's done for the company since he came back a few years ago. Like he put that company on his back during pandemic when he was champion.
He did.
And in a lot of respects got a raw deal because he did all that and never got the moment to hold that belt up in front of the crowd.
Yep.
And you know, he's regularly involved in whatever's going on. It's not like he's off TV for long stretches. But yeah, if he has a dollar amount, he's like, I'm not going below this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for him to sign anything until the end of the year.
Well, there's another huge reason. The merger between WWE and UFC is going to be about 3 months. Well, at the latest, I think I heard 4 to 6 months is sort of the thing.
Yeah.
And so if that takes place in 6 months and there's still 3 months left on his contract, he would be stupid to sign a renewal right now. That would be absolutely asinine because who knows what their financial, I mean, like you said, Fightful Select had a report indicating that talent believes there's a hiring freeze and there's some evidence to suggest that. But yeah, absolutely. And at that point, once the merger happens, there is zero excuse for them to give him a ton of money. And Tony Khan should be ponying up as much as he can possibly scramble together to try to get him over to AEW because he's an instant main eventer. He's an instant title guy. Like you put his face everywhere. That's a much better investment than a CM Punk. It is.
Yeah.
But which he's probably going to be back too. But yeah, as far as Drew is concerned, you just wait. You know, I have no doubt that this stuff is just Drew puts himself as a dude that size. The stuff that he does, he puts himself through a lot. His matches are always super physical. He's like jumping over the ropes and doing flips and stuff on top of everything else that he does. I mean, you know, his finish is basically, you know, jumping up in the air and landing on his back. That can't feel good.
Yeah,
and like you said, this guy has been kind of an Iron Man over the past couple of years. You know, like you said, he absolutely had this company on his back. Him and like Sasha and Bailey, you know, and Asuka.
That whole summer,
that whole summer, all through pandemic, they were the ones. So yeah, interesting to see where this goes. If AEW is able to land him, I would actually suspect that Drew would probably take the Braun route, not go to NWA. No, or control your narrative. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I could see Drew just sitting out until he got the call from WWE again. I don't know if he would go to, but he did. I mean, when he got fired before, he made the rounds.
Yeah, he completely reinvented himself.
He did,
completely reinvented himself.
Yeah,
into the main eventer that we see now, and it's you know it's probably a situation where WWE is like, okay, well he's here for a while. Let's see if we can get him to agree something. That's because maybe he likes being there. Let's see if he'll give us a friendly terms or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it seems like Drew is a man who knows his worth. It is going to take anything less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's should be the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, he should be getting that. Honestly, he should be getting that big money. You know, he should be getting that big money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a perennial main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
It's main event talent. You plug him in main event scene in anywhere around the world, and he'll fit right in.
You got to just watch that reaction he got to the Rumble, to winning the Rumble, and there you go. That's all. That's all the evidence you need. That's the guy right there.
Yep.
So, anyways, all right, let's talk
about this. About Vince. I think a lot of people are worried about Vince. Vince going to be. It's like this dark cloud overall at WWE.
Yeah.
How is Vince involved?
Any week, he could just show up.
That
seems to be the case here, Larson. So what is the latest on Vince?
So let's go back to Friday, because Fightful Select reported on Friday. Quote, higher ups that we spoke to Thursday believe and hope that Smackdown will return to the version of the show we saw since Triple H took over. And based on what we saw Friday night, there was long matches, there was storyline development. There wasn't a whole lot of boredom. With the show. It was actually pretty well-paced, well-written show.
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown definitely seemed like it was booked by the game. The King of Kings, Cerebral Assassin, Terrorizing.
You got that right.
Connecticut Blue Blood.
Yes.
Triple H. But will that be the norm going forward? So today, Fightful Select reported that, quote, WB employees we spoke to were still in a wait-and-see mode after Friday's SmackDown, as Vince McMahon wasn't there. However, we're told McMahon had plans that were made before the WWE Endeavor deal. We haven't learned of his involvement tonight, as in on Raw, as of yet.
You know, man, this is like the worst case, isn't it? Well, I mean, I guess the worst case would be like, guaranteed he's going to be there every week. The worst case is he was there on SmackDown,
yes.
But this is almost as bad, not knowing whether or not he's going to chime in on this shit.
I know.
That's horrible. I'd hate, but so I don't know. We should be finding out here in a couple of hours. People will know, it's like either he's going to be there or not. I mean, from what we understand, Fightful Select, I believe, said that there were minor changes made to the SmackDown script by Vince, and hopefully that'll be the way it'll proceed going on. But yeah, this dark cloud of Vince is just that'd be horrible to exist through that every single two nights a week, every Monday and Friday.
I know.
Is the old man going to show up or not? Yeah,
I know.
I'm here.
It's not quite as bad as knowing Vince is running things full time, but the uncertainty on a week to week basis, wondering if we're going to turn on an episode of Raw or SmackDown is going to just
smell of
reek of Vince's creative.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why is
deflating.
This 2-minute match happening here, surrounded by 30 minutes on either end of absolutely nothing?
Yeah.
That's how you know. You want to know if it's Vince? That's how. You want to know why we care if Vince is back? That's why. Because I want to know what I'm going to be sitting through, man. I'm going to be watching some good wrestling action, or am I going to watch a bunch of nothing?
Do you want to go into the episode, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, anticipating something happening, or sitting there and just with the dark cloud over my head?
Can I check out or not? That's
ruining the idea that I have to watch that particular episode because Vince is behind it.
Do I have to be invested, or can I take it off? I'd rather be invested, man.
Obviously, because it makes the job more enjoyable.
Let's talk about Triple H playing my GM mode. WWE draft happening here.
Oh, speaking of which, we got a new episode of My GM on Friendo Club Wrestling right now.
The Rob Observer edited it. I told him, I said, look, just keep it simple, because Rob, man, you tell Rob to, hey, can you edit this? And he will go all out.
Yes.
Like all the frills. I said, just dial down the frills. Just let's get it out every Monday. But still, thank you so much, Rob.
Yes.
For helping us out with that. Yes. It's another great episode. You know why? Because I'm not gonna spoil it. Here on the YouTube,
again, that's why. Huh?
Wins again. Joel the Mex here says with a super chat, says, loving the content lately. Keep it up, guys. Thank you very much. Leslie gifted 5 more memberships to YouTube. Thank you so much, Leslie. We so appreciate all your generosity here at the channel. And what's up to all the new friendos we've got. We're a new podcast called Going In Raw. We're trying our best to make our way in this digital media landscape. We got 628 people watching the show right now. Do us a huge solid. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and the notify bell. Anyways.
Let's talk about kind of like SmackDown highlights. Because like the major development out of SmackDown, other than Triple H obviously writing the show, it was apparent. Just based on the preview, and then you saw the show play out. It's like, yep, definitely Triple H's vision.
Everything I said they were going to happen, or that they said was going to happen, happened.
Yeah, there nothing seemingly got ripped up and replaced by a bunch of talking. Triple H had a promo during the show, and not only did he kind of go over, really putting over Mania and all the impressive stats about people and there and watching and all that stuff, he also announced that in a few weeks we're getting a draft. Yeah, everybody's eligible.
Yeah, I don't like that aspect of it. I mean, I get it; it sort of increases the the drama, I guess. But I like the idea of like, oh, some people, they're gonna stay where they are. Also, who's gonna conduct? All right, we can try that again. Okay, we're back up.
There we go.
Where we at? You with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool. Right on. Anyways, I don't know where we left off. We left off talking about the WWE draft. How about that? Let's talk about the WWE draft.
Let's talk about the WWE draft. Yes, let's talk about that. So Triple H announced it in a few weeks. It's happening. Everybody's eligible.
Yeah. Everybody's eligible. What do you think about that? Do you think they should have keepers or no?
You know, that I think in theory it's good, but maybe this is Triple H's opportunity for a reset for him.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it might be his first real opportunity to kind of put his mark on the rosters, how he wants them constructed.
Yeah.
And then after that, then maybe we'll see limited drafts going forward from there. I don't know.
Yeah, look, maybe this could also explain why there were not NXT call-ups after Mania, because they are figuring out who they want to bring up to the main roster via the draft. And that could be, because that's been a fairly successful way to do it. Obviously, Finn Balor was brought up via draft. And that's been, obviously pretty successful. There's a bunch of other examples of that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think, he took over the reins at SummerSlam and he made a couple moves here and there. I like the idea, Ray didn't want to be in the company anymore because of his son, and Triple H's like, hey, let's just figure it out. It makes it feel like more of a real world as opposed to just randomly shit happens. So yeah, it'll be interesting how this all shakes out. Are there any things that are sort of big moves that you think need to happen? Obviously Rhea Ripley being the women's champion on SmackDown, clearly they're going to move Judgment Day over to SmackDown. They'll probably have to kick Ray over to Raw if they want to, depending on how the story plays out.
I'd imagine there's going to be a serious reshuffling to a certain degree of the main event scene, because Roman's going to need new challengers over on SmackDown, since that's the show he's predominantly on, before he ends up coming back around to Cody.
Yeah.
Because Roman's pretty much beat everybody.
Yeah.
On SmackDown already.
Yeah.
So if they want to bring Seth over to SmackDown to feud with him at some point, maybe at SummerSlam, that's your main event for the title. Lashley maybe, because we haven't got Lashley versus at least Bloodline Roman yet. That's what I would kind of anticipate when it comes to the main event scene on both shows. Basically everybody Roman has beat on SmackDown, they'll probably go into Raw.
Yeah, you're probably
unless part of the draft is
Roman
splitting the titles.
Yeah. Do you think? Let me ask you this: the nebulous idea of it's coming in a couple weeks. What? You don't have a date locked down?
So when is? Let me ask you this: There's sweeps twice a year, usually May and November-ish, historically speaking. So I don't know exactly when sweeps are in the spring, whether it's late April, May, now, in 2023. I would guess that's when it's going to be.
Is that still a thing? They can really care about that still?
I think so, because that's part, the whole idea of Sweeps Week was every show would really load it up. They get viewership because that's when they kind of determine the ad rates for that particular time period.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. The Nielsen stuff is so weird. Sometimes I, read stuff that's it's so antiquated, nobody uses it, but maybe they do still. Yeah, that's a possibility. I wonder if, but the thing is, here's I guess my point. If they're waiting for sweeps, they know when it is.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they have a date? I guess my point is, do they not have a date because they're still figuring it out?
Oh,
and is it a situation where if it was just Triple H, he'd know when he'd be ready? But you got Vince out there too. Oh, just it's a couple weeks, doesn't matter. Ugh.
You know what it could be is maybe there's some tension about whether to do a draft or not. And Triple H is if I just go out there and announce it, there's nothing he can do about it. He being Vince.
Yeah, right.
So go out there and announce it, and we'll figure out when it's going to happen later.
Nobody's using hashtag fire Triple H. They're using hashtag fire Vince. But yeah, so a couple weeks, who knows if it's going to be a Veer situation where the draft is going to be endlessly coming, or if it's actually going to be, by the end of April, which would be, within the couple week time frame. But But yeah, no, I think you're right though about the Roman thing. Like you can assume that, who are the big names that he's had, feuds with lately. I mean, Cody will probably stay. It all sort of depends on like if Roman is going to be assigned a brand, or is he going to be given the John Cena, Brock Lesnar treatment, where, he'll just be like, well, he's the tribal chief, he's both brands. Or would they, like you say, motivate this, use the brand to motivate another title? You meld the Universal and the WWE, or I think they should split because you get to keep that legacy going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's talk about one quick thing here before we get to the breakdown of the show. So this kind of felt like something that probably could have and should have happened on Monday night, but we had some more development between Jay, Sami Zayn, and how Solo kind of fits into the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It really harkened back to the work that Jay was doing, like in the aftermath of like Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Where there's obvious conflict in him about how to go about reconciling his experiences and how he feels about Sami with the sense of loyalty he has towards his family, and the sense of loyalty or lack thereof that Roman seemingly has towards him.
Yeah.
And how that's all going to play out to kind of bring that story arc full circle. I thought there was some good stuff here tonight. They referenced when Jay stopped Solo from hitting Sami with the spike, the Samoan spike at the Rumble. So it was the end of the main event, especially was really good in how that all played out at the end. Some interesting stuff. Yeah,
I thought that it was the kind of stuff that we probably should have got actually before Mania even.
Yeah.
Because it was unresolved conversations and communications between Sami and Jay, unresolved emotional connections that you think should have been. But they're addressing it now, and I can appreciate that. They're advancing the story, and it's an ongoing crumbling of the bloodline. As commentary said, if there was any doubt before, there is no doubt now. Sami and Jay cannot. They're not going to be on the same page. They're not going to come to any understanding. This is still a blood feud, and Jay has definitely drawn that line.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I thought it was interesting stuff, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go after that. Before we get to the breakdown, do you want to pay some bills?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, Manscaped. Larson.
What?
I got some breaking news that's going to interest you.
What's that?
Manscaped, the world's leader in below-the-belt grooming, are traveling north of the South Pole being down here, North Pole being up here, and introducing a new line of beard products, man.
Oh.
And I think it's time for you and all the bearded friendos to upgrade their grooming game by going to manscaped.com and using promo code RAW to get 20% off plus free shipping.
Yeah, not only is Manscaped revolutionizing front area grooming with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0, they've got the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit, and it all starts with the cordless Beard Hedger, which offers 20 hair trimming lengths all in one rotary guard that's tough on those beard hairs while being smooth on your face. The Pro Kit also includes Manscaped's beard shampoo and conditioner, beard oil, and beard balm to keep your facial follicles moisturized and looking good.
All right. But Larson, you probably think with your beard looking sharp, all your grooming needs are covered, right? Wrong. That's fiction. Got to get your hands on Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, which now includes Weed Whacker 2.0. Oh, man. And all of Manscaped's other grooming products to keep your undercarriage from becoming an unruly thicket. I don't have the stuff right here on my facia, Larson, up here, but I got to make sure that down there, oh, man, is taken care of using Manscaped. Oh, man.
You do.
Manscaped.
So get 20% off and free shipping with our code RAW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use our code RAW. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Oh, man. You said tools. Go to manscaped.com. Anyways, before we get back to the show, let me get this thing figured out here. There we go. Let's get a word from our other sponsor, HelloFresh. You know, Larson.
What's that?
Between going in Raw, Friendo Club Wrestling, and of course, Wrestle Juice, my side gig, I'm a busy man, and that means sometimes I don't want to deal with the hassle of meal planning and grocery shopping.
Well, Steve, I've said goodbye to meal prep and those seemingly endless trips to the grocery store thanks to HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and delicious seasonal recipes delivered directly to your door. I'm pretty much an amateur in the kitchen. I barely know what I'm doing in there, and it's not uncommon for me to forget to add ingredient or put in too much or too little of something when I'm trying to follow a recipe. But HelloFresh makes me feel like a cooking pro since each recipe comes with detailed instructions, so it's easy for someone like me, amateur, to get a delicious meal on the table to feed my hungry family fast. Especially, oh man, beef bulgogi stir-fry recipe. Great stuff. Is a huge favorite here in the Larson house.
That's not for amateurs. That's for professionals. Larson and food, it's super expensive these days. But HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% cheaper than takeout. HelloFresh just isn't for dinner either. They've got something for basically any and every mealtime, including snack, easy lunches, and brunch.
Oh, yeah. I see they've got a chicken and waffles recipe up there. It looks really good. And our friendos can try America's #1 meal kit by going to HelloFresh.com/GIR50 and use code GIR50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/GIR50 and use code GIR50 for 50% off and free shipping on your first box.
Oh, man. Go to HelloFresh. Oh, man. Anyways, so before we get started here, quick shout out here to a couple super chats. First up from Lucci Club Studio says, Bray Wyatt still has some receipts for Roman as well. I don't think he got a rematch for the Universal title before he got released.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. David Colon says draft date rumored to be May 8th. I had not heard that, but I guess that's a possibility. That would be within a couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah, it would be about 4 weeks' time. Yeah.
Simon Schmidt here with Super Chat says, little something for you two young up-and-comers to support you. We all understand you haven't done this for very long, but you are presenting just like you've been doing this for years. It's like we've been doing this for 14 or 15 years, Larson, but no, we just got started like right before Mania, you know?
I guess we're naturals.
We're a couple like civil servants, and we're like, hey, man, you know, I'm kind of burned out by our real jobs doing paperwork and stuff.
Yes,
and
the weight of bureaucracy was too much.
I was like, I like pro wrestling. You like pro wrestling. Why not next week we start a podcast? That was a month ago.
That was a month ago. A month ago, we were under piles of paperwork.
So much bureaucracy.
So much bureaucracy.
Tape.
Just couldn't take it anymore.
That was a couple of civil servants.
Tyler Robinson with the membership here 2 months ago. I was curious if you guys have watched any of Moist Wrestling League.
No, I've heard about it. I'm aware of who Moist Critical is, but I don't.
Sounds familiar.
I have not. He's like a big YouTuber, Twitch streamer, influencer of some sort.
Yeah, name sounds familiar.
And he likes wrestling. He started his own wrestling league, but I don't know. There's only so many hours in the day I have to watch wrestling. I need to get back into Impact. Impact's going to be I can talk about it if I want to, but I'm not required to by our new podcast.
Yes. Guardian Ape with Super Chat says, why do they keep shoving Riddle down our throat? They think people like Matt Riddle.
Yeah, we'll talk about Matt Riddle here in a bit. It kicked off, SmackDown did, with the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium.
This match is a lot of fun.
These dudes have endless chemistry. It's all great stuff. And, of course, given that Gunther retained his Intercontinental Championship there at WrestleMania, Brawling Brutes needed to get something, and they did here. Sheamus, of course, gets a bro kick on Vinny Vinci for the win.
Yeah, super fun match, though.
Yeah,
tons
really
of fun
stuff.
Go out of your way to check it out. Then we got a Cody recap from what happened at WrestleMania when Brock attacked him and so on and so forth. And we got our first possible explanation as to why Brock did what he did, according to Wade Barrett. This is the rumor he heard, that Brock told WWE officials that he was mad that his match went on first on night 2 of WrestleMania.
This was an ill-advised thing for Wade Barrett to say.
It really was, because we all know you want to get on first, so his day was over early.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So if they did a running gag where like a bunch of people gave their ideas and opinions as to what they've heard or rumors or whatever, speculation, that'd be one thing, because the big question is, why did Brock do this? You can come up with any number of better motivations than because he didn't
Brock found out that Cody ate the last piece of prime rib.
That's probably better than him getting, the early shot. There should be. Just don't do that. Just let Brock tell us. Because I even like that, Brock was asked, and he right here actually. So we had Cody on Raw After Mania recap. That's when Wade said that. Yeah. And then we had a Paul Heyman interview. So Heyman, it's backstage, but he's like, the crowd starts booing him. He's like, "Don't boo me, I'm Paul Heyman." And then Kayla asks Heyman if he knows why Brock did what he did on Monday. And he just completely pushes. Yeah. He says, "Kayla, why is this night different than all other nights? Because I shall talk about something far more relevant, like your tribal chief, the head of the table. The fact that the Bloodline headlined both nights of WrestleMania, all thanks to Roman Reigns, who is now approaching 1,000 days." And then Jey Uso steps in. Heyman says, "There he is, the right-hand man, main event Jey Uso." And Jey asks Heyman, "Have you seen Jimmy?" And Solo, "Have you seen Jimmy?" And Solo just stares at him. Heyman says, "Your brother's not here this evening. Roman wanted your brother to stay at home and watch on television as you take out Sami Zayn all by yourself. Cements his legacy on the island of relevancy by solving the Sami Zayn problem." And Jey just sort of looks at them both, kind of confused, kind of off-put, but then says, "Yeet," and then leaves. And then Heyman goes over to Solo and says, "He solves the Sami Zayn problem tonight, or you solve our problems tonight."
Plural.
Again, this is one of those things, though, where it's like, you're trying to tell me that these twins... Wait, are they actual? They're twins, right?
Yeah, they're twins.
They're actual twins. Yeah,
they're not identical twins, but
they're not identical twins, but they are fraternal, whatever it is. And you'd think that they would communicate, like, the other night when you were like, not at ACW when I was there, I was like, you hit me up, you're like, "Where do I park?" I was like, "Oh, there's not a lot of places to park." So I don't know.
I didn't wait till I show up at the wrestling show to have communication with you, which is seemingly the trope in WWE. Communication, people only interact when the cameras are rolling at wrestling shows.
Yeah.
You can be brothers, you can be husband and wife, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I remember the New Day podcast. That's how I always kind of remember in the back of my head they're actual twins. Because what was the conversation that Big E was just completely beside himself that they were having, and it had to do with twins?
Oh, I think it's about how one twin could be older if they were born on different days. Are they still twins? Yes, that's what it was. Thanks, Kaufman. If they were born on different days.
That's right. And they were all debating it, and Big E was like, "What are you guys even talking about right now? This is
it has nothing to do with that. I know.
Yeah, it was pretty.
We got Dave Meltzer tweet here. Vince.
Drum roll.
Isn't at Raw Live in Seattle.
Oh, he's not there, everybody. He's not there, everybody. Can we get where's the horn, Larson? Can we get it?
Hold on, give me a moment, please.
Get the horn.
Let me get the horn up. Where is it? There it is.
He's not there, everybody. He's not there.
Let me turn my volume up.
And I'm proud to be an American, but Vince is not at Raw. Everybody go buy tickets to Raw. Vince isn't there.
There we go. All right.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Sigh of relief till Friday.
A couple people in chat are saying, yet.
Well, yeah, I guess there is still... Well, it's 3:30. If he's not there now, he's not going to be.
No, it's 12:30 in Seattle.
Oh, no, that's right. They're on the West Coast.
Yes.
God damn it.
Then we got Ricochet versus Ivar. This is a fun bout here, too. Ricochet gets the win, which I was somewhat surprised about. Because Ricochet doesn't win a ton of singles matches.
I've told you, I am continually surprised at Braun and Ricochet experiencing success.
Yeah.
Over like an actual tag team like the Viking Raiders, because Braun and Ricochet do not have a name. It's just
all they do is Braun Strowman and Ricochet.
Yeah, right. They don't have a tag team themed name. And yeah, somebody here pointed out in our who mentioned this? Somebody mentioned that they pulled Riddle versus Miz from the preview, and sure enough, on WWE.com in their Raw preview, I do not see anywhere Miz versus Riddle.
Oh, it was there.
It was. I saw it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I actually wrote it down here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So after that, we had, I scroll. There we go. Kevin Owens is backstage in the locker room, and he's staring at his pair of tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy walks in, and Sammy's like, "Were you just staring at the titles?" And Kevin Owens says, "No, I was leering at them."
Yeah.
And Sammy says, "It's okay. I was staring at mine too. This is a pretty big deal, man. The first SmackDown is Undisputed Champs. It's a huge night." And Kevin Owens says, "Yeah, especially for you. You got a big match with Jay tonight. That's a big opportunity right there." And Sammy's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And Kevin Owens says, "It's a great chance to put this Bloodline stuff behind us, behind you. We took their titles at Mania tonight. You could settle whatever you need to settle with Jay, and we can move on from them, right?" And Sammy goes, "Well, there's something I want to talk to you about. There's something about all this that feels off. I don't know how to put it. I mean, what you're saying is true, but I can't shake this feeling that I got to talk to him or something." And Kevin Owens is like, what is there to talk about?" Sammy says, "Everything you're saying is true. We wanted the titles. We wanted to watch the Bloodline crumble. We did it in the biggest way possible. We beat the main event of WrestleMania. And yes, now it's all crumbling, but it sounds weird, but I feel a sense of obligation."
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Owens says, "I don't know what you're talking about. You think you're going to waltz in there and have a chat with them? Listen, we beat them. Bloodline crumbling. And you think that's going to make Jay willing to talk? If anything, it makes him more dangerous than he's ever been. I don't know what you're trying to get out of this. And I know I can't talk you out of this, but I'm telling you right now, it's a bad idea and you shouldn't do it." Mm-hmm. Sammy thinks about it for a second, goes, "You're okay. You're right. But, I got it. I have to do it. I'll be okay." He leaves.
Yeah. We pick up that a little bit later, but first we had Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus Shotzi and Natalya. Of course, Natty and Shotzi are just like, "We're here to prove why we should be number one contenders for the tag title." This is just sort of a showcase to prove why the opposite is true, why Liv and Raquel are fighting for the tag titles tonight on Raw. And of course, they got the win here. Liv hits Shotzi with a tornado DDT, and an Oblivion to get the win for her team. Should be a fun match tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Well, I guess we can talk about it a little bit more now because you're going to be talking to Paul about the Raw tonight. That match. Good guys versus good guys. There's no chance Raquel and Liv win this, right?
No, I don't think so. I think Becky and Lita are holding those tag titles till the match with Ronda and Shayna.
I think you're probably right about that. I don't know how long Ronda is going to be.
I mean, that's the thing. We haven't heard anything about Shayna being hurt coming out of WrestleMania either. Because by the end of that match, she had one of her wrestling boots off and was limping around a bit. So
I would suspect, because I think Triple H said something during the press conference about him not hearing about anybody having any injuries beyond one of the other ones. I forget which one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that seems like Ronda and like Lita and Becky all in the same match seems a bit bigger than a Raw or a SmackDown. I feel like if they're going to do that, it's going to be either a Backlash or it's going to be a pay-per-view thing, once, and then they can wait on that one a little bit. I mean, you do this here, and then you can wait a couple of weeks, determine who another number one contender is going to be, and then you just, wait a little bit longer. After that, we're backstage. And Madcap Moss and Xavier Woods are playing some 2K23. And then LA Knight has to step in. Yeah. Says, I was watching WrestleMania. There was one big glaring omission. You see Snoop Dogg, you see Bad Bunny, you see Logan Paul, and I just can't help to think that we're in LA, and there's one thing missing. Everybody's saying LA Knight. He says, then I think, well, it is WrestleMania, and here's this guy over there playing video games. And he says, how times have changed. He sounds like he's in his mid-50s.
I know.
And then Woods gets out of his chair. He's like, what's wrong? You upset because Daddy didn't pat you on the head and tell you were special on this big day? Now you want to come in here and complain to all of us about it rather than being like me and creating your own solution? He says, if you worked half as much as you talked, you probably would have been on Mania. Matter of fact, that's probably why I beat you a few weeks ago, and I'll gladly beat you for money again if that's what you'll need. And then LA Knight picks up Woods' PS5 controller. He says, I tell you what, this isn't playing one of your video games. This is playing LA Knight's game. Yeah. And then he throws the controller. Has LA Knight learned?
He breaks it with the bare hand.
Oh, yeah. He did. Has LA Knight learned how to code, and does a really cheap video game, really busted?
Maybe the idea of this being LA Knight's game is this: we're all living in a simulation crafted by LA Knight.
Oh wow, pretty deep stuff there. I thought, my favorite game is Ride to Hell Retribution. Yeah, it's got a lot of sex and it breaks a lot. Yeah. Remember that piece of shit game?
Yeah.
What a weird game that people made.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Then Triple H comes to the ring, drop a promo. He puts over WrestleMania a bunch. This many people came to the show, and this many people watched it. And we made this much money, and so on and so forth. He says as great as Mania was is now behind us, and now I'm all about the future. So I'm here to talk about the future. And just a few short weeks is once again time for the WWE Draft, the night that changes the future and destiny of every WWE superstar in pack. And this year, every single superstar is eligible for the draft. And I promise, it's all said and done, this year's draft will truly change the game. And then he introduces Rhea Ripley. Rhea and Judgment Day walk out to the ramp. Triple H meets him up there, shakes Rhea's hand, then goes, each member of Judgment Day shakes their hand. He makes his way backstage. Judgment Day make their way to the ring.
He gives Finn a too sweet, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Rhea says, April 1st, 2023 will go down in history as the night sports entertainment changed forever because Rhea Ripley did the impossible. I destroyed and dethroned 14-time champ Charlotte Flair. So I think it's time everybody rises for mommy. I said rise for the most feared woman in this locker room and for the greatest champion in WWE. Finn says, let's talk about Edge. And he tries to turn his loss against Edge as a win. He says, what sort of sicko resorts to splitting my head open just to get a W? But who's the real winner? Because even though I got 14 staples in my head, Edge ain't nowhere to be seen, but Finn is still standing. And then Dom's next. But my God.
Heat.
The crowd was just laying into this dude.
Heat.
And every time he tries to talk, they just get louder and louder. And he says, at Mania, I decided not to show aggression towards my dad. And Rhea whispers in his ear a little bit as the crowd continues to boo. He says, you know who sucks? A father who lays his hands on his own son. I held back at Mania. I pulled my punches because I knew at the end of the day, I couldn't hurt my own father. I love my dad. I couldn't hurt him, but I can't say the same for him because when I stood across from him in the middle of that ring, I could see the anger in his eyes. But I understood where the lines are drawn. Dad, and as far as I'm concerned, you and the rest of my family can go to hell. And you can take Bad Bunny and your little friends with you. And then Cole throws to a recap of Dom's match at Mania, and then back to, and a recap of Raw, and then we go back to Judgment Day, and Priest says, Benito, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me, because I forgive you for making me do what I did to you. And then Ray's music hits, and he comes down to the ring with the new LWO.
Yeah. Then we got Ray and Santos taking on Dominic and Damian Priest. Another really fun bout. This one sees Priest tag himself in as Dom is getting hit with a 619. Santos tags in, is looking for a Phantom Driver on Dom. However, Priest got tagged in. He gets in there, breaks that up, hits Santos with the choke slam south of heaven to get the win.
Yep. After that, Sammy's backstage looking for Jay. And then we get a cool video package of Shinsuke Nakamura returning to SmackDown next week.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to have
some good creative for him.
A little razzle dazzle to him. Mm-hmm. It'd be cool if in that whole talent thing with him going to do the Muda match, that they would show some footage from it or something. It's like, hey, our dude's been out and about doing cool stuff, as opposed to just doing a whole lot of nothing. So yeah, how would you re-debut Shinsuke Nakamura?
First thing I do is bring back his full NXT entrance with the strobe lights and all that.
Agreed. That was so next level. That stuff was so good. It really was.
It was so good. That alone was just a way to build hype for him coming to his match. I mean, really just showcase them putting on really good matches at first, especially. Get him in some interesting feuds. Do that. It's not rocket science.
No, it's not. Yeah. There's a lot you could do with that guy, man. You can really build him back up into something special. Something that I was hoping they were planning on doing with Asuka, but they just built her up to take a L to Bianca at WrestleMania. Anyways, after that, Sammy finds Jay backstage. Sammy's like, maybe Kevin was right. Maybe you don't want to talk. There's just one thing I want to say before we go out there. Same thing I've been saying for months. He says, there's a way out of this for all of you, right? Look, everything I said was going to happen has happened. I said we'd take the tag titles off of you and the Bloodline would crumble, and that's what's happened. At Mania, we took the tag titles, and now look around you. The Bloodline is crumbling. If you don't believe me, look around. Jimmy ain't here. Roman's mad at you. Heyman is selling you lies, and Solo's looking like you, like he's ready to drop the hammer any second. If you don't see it by now, if I have to keep beating some sense into you, I'll do it. If you want me to beat you like I did at Mania tonight, I'll do it. I'll do it next week to get it through your head. What I'm trying to say to you is that that's not how it has to be. And then there's like a whole commotion off screen, and Sammy's like, what the heck is that? He runs over to Solo, laying out Kevin Owens. Sammy tends to him. A bunch of producers and refs come in, and they sort of separate all the whole situation there. And then Jay sort of looks on and then just backs up a little bit.
So I like Jay at least has some new ring gear, and that alone wouldn't seem like that huge of a deal. But ever since they've been in the Bloodline, they've been wearing the pants.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
These were shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Something more along the lines. I mean, the color scheme obviously wasn't what like in the Usos' early days when they wore the shorts, the brightly colored shorts. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But it was more like after they had their repackaging, when they started doing the Uso Penitentiary thing, they were still wearing shorts, but it was all a darker color scheme. Mm-hmm. But I think the fact that he went back to shorts after WrestleMania is not coincidental in the least.
No, it is getting warmer these days. Yeah.
Well, there's that. But they were in Portland, Pacific Northwest.
Oh,
what is Pacific Northwest known for?
Freezing cold rain.
Dreary weather.
Yeah, gray skies all the time. Yeah. Maybe it's something. Maybe he's going to go to the Portland beach where it's nice. I don't know.
On the Columbia River?
Yeah, I guess so. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested to get your read mainly on the post-main event stuff. Mm-hmm. So then we had a Sami Zayn interview. He's asked about Kevin Owens' condition because he had like a big road case on his leg.
Yeah, his leg,
and Sami says he's in the medical room right now. He's getting looked at. I don't think he's available tonight. He was right, though. They're more dangerous than we gave him credit for. Jay's about to find out that he's not the only one with a problem that's going to get solved right now. We had our main event, Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn.
Solid bout, really fun bout. So before the first commercial break during the match, or the one commercial break during the match, so Sami sends Jay over the top rope, and then Solo comes down to ringside. Come back for commercial. Sami hits this really cool exploder suplex off the top rope. Well, let's get down towards the finish. So Sami goes up top. Jay hits with the enziguri. He's looking for a superplex. Sami blocks that. Instead, he's looking for a sunset flip powerbomb. Jay headbutts his way free. Headbutts Sami off the top rope, and it starts like choking him against the ropes. And so the ref comes to break that up. And so as he's breaking it up, Solo hits Sami with a Samoan spike, and then Jay follows with like a jumping kick to get the win.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So afterwards, Solo gets in the ring and stares at Jay. And Jay's looking at Solo. Solo offers his hand to help up Jay. Jay takes it, gets up, and then Solo just turns his attention to Sami and starts just hitting him with headbutts and punches and forearms. Well, Jay watches in the corner. Eventually, like he falls to his knee, watching what's going on. And then Solo sets up first Samoan spike, and then Jay gets up and stops him, just like it happened at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And says that's enough. You don't have to do it. It's enough. Actually, it wasn't the Rumble. It was before the Rumble, wasn't it?
That wasn't at the Rumble.
That wasn't at the Rumble. No.
Yeah.
When was that?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. It was somewhere.
The Bloodline is just this whole thing. Yeah.
It's this massive story but it wasn't at the Rumble. Now I remember it. So the crowd's chanting for Jay.
Oh, the trial. The trial. That's
right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So the crowd's chanting for Jay. And so then Jay hits Sami with a super kick and starts laughing. It's like, Solo, go get a chair. Mm-hmm. And Solo's going to get a chair. Matt Riddle comes to the ring to make the save. He clears the ring. Eventually clotheslines Solo out. So he's still wearing his purple underwear.
At least he had a jacket on.
Yeah, he did have a jacket on.
Doesn't look quite as much like he just woke up in the middle of the night.
Bed, I know.
Thought there was an intruder there. I want a peanut butter sandwich. So what do you make of Jay holding back Solo, but then doing it himself? Is it like Sami needs to know that this is done, so you can stop, I'm going to do it now? How do you read that? Because I think there's a couple different ways you can read
I think so. And maybe it's a situation. It could be that. It could be earnest on Jay's part to stop Solo, and thinking, well, if I super kick him, then he's kind of, we don't have to worry about, that's not as, it's not going to inflict as much damage as taking a thumb to the windpipe or something like that.
And then who knows what up after that? Solo might grab a chair and do the hip attack on the chair to the neck and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of reading it that way. Like Jay was finishing it the way he could finish it because he had the control in that situation, as opposed to letting the wild card Solo, who would probably go overboard and like finish off his career or something like that. Yeah. That's sort of, I think that's how I read it anyways. But I like that there's like a couple different.
Yeah.
It's a bit ambiguous.
And then also, like CD5 here says he stopped Solo and kicked Sammy to show Roman that it was all him. That was Jay.
Oh, that's a good way to put it too.
That was trying to take care of the problems to get Roman off his back.
Yeah.
Because as Heyman says, if Jay doesn't take care of the Sami Zayn problem, then Solo, you have to take care of our problems.
Yeah, Jay doesn't want to look impotent to the tribal chief.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also the idea of who are the problems, plural, that Heyman is talking about. Yes, Sami, Kevin Owens, but could that be Jay as well?
That's what I was thinking too, is like the Usos lost the titles. They're on the outs. Like, are the problems Jay and Jimmy? Yeah, there's a lot of good questions here. I like that because it's it's kind of intriguing, and it's not just spoon feeding it to us, know.
Nope.
So I like that. That's good stuff.
I do too. We also had 2 hours of AEW programming Friday night. We had Rampage. We had Battle of the Belts.
Wins again.
It was a lot. It's like 1 extra hour of wrestling on a Friday night just feels like it's so much more.
Dude, I watched
up on over the weekend.
I waited until yesterday. I was doing my taxes and watching Rampage and Battle of the Belts back to back. And it was all fine. They had some story beats going on. I thought the opener on Rampage, I'm looking at it right now, Ethan Page versus Hook, it was like a no DQ, whatever it was, street fight.
FTW rules,
Yeah. I thought that was fine. I thought that was good. You had 2.0 finally turning on Jericho Appreciation Society turning on the Acclaimed. I thought that could have gone. I thought that whole thing, the courting process, could have gone on a little bit longer. But yeah, that was all fine stuff.
What do you think about Swerve taking over the embassy?
Yeah, that's cool. That's fine.
I mean, if the idea
is he going to be on cable TV?
Yes, because he and Darby are going to have a match on Dynamite, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I understand the idea that they want to give Swerve some muscle for his faction. And then I like that rather than, I guess the idea was put Parker and Trench with them, 2 potential up-and-comers that might have some potential, and they put Parker especially in the ring and realize he still can't wrestle. To have Swerve align with, depending if Brian Cage sticks around or not, 3 legit guys with the embassy.
Right. Yeah.
So in that sense, it's a huge upgrade.
I guess the idea is he going to elevate the embassy, and this remains to be seen, or is the embassy going to drag him down?
So much of it depends on how the creative is.
It exclusively depends on that.
Yeah. Because I think from a performance aspect, like, the guys in the embassy are going to be fine. I don't think that's.
I like them. I think they're great. But where are they going to put them on the card? You know what I mean?
I know. And if are they going to get back around to the Swerve Keith Lee story? We got Keith Lee taking on Jericho on Dynamite. I was assuming that Swerve was going to cost Keith Lee that match. But like they have had so little interaction over the last few weeks that this feels like they just completely are neglecting that story. They got to get back around to it.
Dude, I honestly feel like I think that AEW has like a couple of solid things going right now, but once you get past the stuff that goes down on Dynamite, once you get past that stuff, because I think that's decent these days, it's a bit of a mess.
It is.
There are feuds that just haven't been addressed. There are alliances that don't make sense. There are just too many things. I get, you want to use the roster, that's good, but god dang, there's been so many things that have just been sort of dropped, know?
Yeah, there really has. I mean, you got outside like the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite feud.
Yeah.
The Outcast storyline.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
the
I'm
Fern
talking
stuff
about.
has been really good with Ethan Page and Matt Hardy and Hook and all. That's been some fun stuff.
That's been fun stuff. I'm curious to see where Jay White and Ricky Starks ends up.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. But yeah, besides those sort of A storylines that all play out on Dynamite, you've got Rampage. Did they never officially announced the other hour of did they?
No, they haven't officially announced anything though.
So you got Rampage, you got this, the Battle of the Belts, which I know happens quarterly. But yeah, it just, and then, Ring of Honor stuff, which sometimes, butts up against AEW programming.
Yeah.
It's like, man, there's a lot going on right now.
There is a lot.
And so much of that stuff just sort of falls by the wayside.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, let's jump into it. Rampage kicked off with Ethan Page versus Hook FTW rules match here. Fun bout. Of course, Ethan Page loses. He's looking for a Eagle's Edge. Hook reverses that to a Red Rum for the win, and then T-Bones Page through a table that was set up in the ring earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of put a punctuation on the whole thing. Then we get QTV. Wow.
What was the punctuation? Oh, God, that Dante Martin joke at the end. Eesh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ew.
no.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Joking about that shit. Yeah, this is all kind of rough stuff. I'm just glad.
Yeah.
So do you think, dude, we can sort of fast forward to the end just to address this because we're talking about QTV. As you had kind of predicted, QT Marshall took the loss for their team.
Mm-hmm.
But they cut before there was anything really to go like Hobbs walked over to
destroy him, yes.
And I'm assuming that didn't happen off camera.
I didn't hear anything about it, no.
That needs to happen like soon.
Yes.
Because that shit's dumb.
Ideally, let's travel back in time and have it happen on Friday.
Yeah. While we're time traveling, we can just, divorce the entire idea of Hobbs being
That's
with
true.
QTV.
Have Samoa Joe be the one that cost Wardlow the TNT title in Sacramento.
But dude, I want some of it is just getting back to sort of the broad problems with AEW. There's no structure. Like the divisions don't have like structure. It's like there's tag divisions, there's the trios divisions kind of, and then everybody just sort of exists and nobody's going for stuff. Like who's going for the TNT title right now?
I don't know. You think
Who's
Wardlow
going?
would, but he's been off TV for a month.
Who, Wardlow?
Yeah.
Who's going for the all international title now?
Buddy, House of Black is. Buddy's got a match against Orange Cassidy this week.
Right.
That one I can answer.
Yeah, but isn't that because like House of Black just beat the Best Friends for the trios thing, which I don't even know how that. Like it's just if any given feud, you can sort of if you can't answer the question, why are these two people feuding? Why is this match happening? That's a massive, and like a lot of the stories in AEW, I can't explain why is Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson in a feud right now?
Because Juice Robinson attacked him in Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's not like a legit reason though, you know?
Because we don't know why Juice attacked Ricky Starks to begin with.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a lot of their things. But anyways, then we had the Acclaimed in 2.0 versus the Infantry, LSG, and Bobby Orlando, which is a great name.
It is a great name.
Yeah.
The Acclaim get this win pretty easy for their team. But before the match, Daddy Magic, of course, asked the crowd if they want to know what makes his nipples hard.
Do you want to know what makes my nipples hard?
So Parker says it's not just the fact that he's having one hell of a hair day. It's the fact that the Acclaim are going to join the JAS tonight. And I believe Daddy Magic says they're the epitome. Sports
Entertainers.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I'm the Acclaimed come out and just run down their opponents, call them no name, probably paying for their blue checks. And then I think, didn't they run down 2.0 in the rap also?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, they tease a scissor with 2.0, like a big four-way. And then 2.0, they get excluded.
Yeah.
They'd be like me at an orgy. I'd be like, why is everybody having fun? But nobody wants to,
you'd be doing the John Travolta from Pulp Fiction thing, huh?
Doing this shit here.
You'd be like Tom Cruise in Eyes Wide Shut, just walking around aimlessly.
Fidelio. I had the
Fidelio.
Password. Doesn't that get me some action also? I've used my Manscaped.
Entry to the event only, Steve.
So great. I just get to smell a bunch of butts. That ain't fun. I want to be in
anyways, Acclaim get the win here. And then afterwards, 2.0 and Hager attack the Acclaim.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
there's more entertainment to be had from 2.0 just trying to recruit the Acclaim, despite being it plainly obvious the Acclaim want nothing to do with them. But yet at the same time, it's like, hey, it's kind of fun to be wined and dined a little bit here.
Yeah, I know. I feel like there was a lot more they could have mined here, and they didn't. Instead, It was just like the Acclaim treated him like trash, and then they like attacked. And I'm like, well, this is fool me once, et cetera, et cetera.
It was kind of fun when the Acclaim were treating 2.0 like trash, but 2.0 was like, no, we're still going to recruit you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was kind of fun. And then you sort of do the reversal where maybe the Acclaimed are like on board, and then 2.0 attacks. It's like, no, we were screwing with you the whole times because it makes my nipples hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they just they just chopped out a bunch of the other acts in the middle.
You know, that's how AEW does things sometimes. Either the stories go on way too long, or they just like cut whole chunks of it out.
Yeah. Sev here in YouTube chat says, we don't even know why Juice is rock hard. Oh, man. Maybe he got the password. No, Fidelio. Anyways, after that, we had that Swerve Strickland promo. He says, public service announcement brought to you by the CEO of Mogul Affiliate. And just because we lost soldiers in this game doesn't mean we lost the war. We keep going on. We recruit just like all great moguls, like myself. Mergers happen with Swerve. Mogul Affiliates get 51% of ownership of said merger. It's time for me to make the... I'm sitting here like, wait, what is he talking about right now? He says, it's time for me to make
successions. You know about acquisitions, successions.
As it relates to giant media conglomerates, yes, but this is just a dude backstage. He says, it's time for me to make the announcement that you've all been waiting for all week. Swerve has joined forces with... you got to wait to find out later tonight. It's going to be a good one.
Then we find out soon enough here because we got Lee Moriarty taking on Darby Allin. JR mentions that Darby was hit by a car the day prior in New York City while skateboarding. On the Lower East Side, I think they said.
Oh, man. He had a tire track on his back.
So Darby gets the win here. He hits a code red on Moriarty. Big Bill was ringside just messing with Darby the whole time. So Darby hits Big Bill with a suicide dive, gets back in the ring, hits Lee with a coffin drop to get the win. Then as Darby is walking up the ramp, Swerve's music hits. Mm-hmm. So he walks over to Darby, offers his hand, and then Brian Cage blasts Darby from behind and hits a nasty F5 on the ramp.
Oh, yeah.
And then Prince Nana walks out, and he and Swerve shake hands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The merger is complete, Steve.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the thing. So there you go. After that, RJ City attempts to mediate a sit-down between Jade and Taya. RJ sort of describes what's been going on, and Jade says, I don't have time for this. I have a match at Battle of the Belts against Billy Starks. Says, I don't have time. And then RJ asks Taya, how do you feel? She says, how do you feel being a criminal? And Taya responds, what's criminal is the lack of education and respect coming from the champion. But let me enlighten you about something. This move has been used for decades by literal living legends and by myself for years. You haven't been in this business long enough to have a cup of coffee. You don't get to decide who does what, when, or who owns what. That's not how it works. Show a little respect. And Jade says, bitch, this is my show. This is my belt. And what you're not going to do is come up here. And then she gets up, her and Ty argue. And then RJ's like, oh, this is not working at all. This is not going the way I thought it was going to go. Thought it was going to be a good old time. But we'll try it again some other time.
Yeah. RJ said he's pretty entertaining.
He's awesome. He's great. They should use him a lot more.
Yeah, no, I'm happy they used him in this type of stuff.
Same.
Then we got a Anna Jay, Julia Hart video package, highlighting the story leading to their main event, and that match was next.
It was a good match too.
It was a lot of fun.
So at one point during the video package, Anna Jay says something like, what is this? I got a big ass and I got a lot of whatever.
Bad attitude.
And a bad attitude.
Yeah.
And then of course that's the one thing JR refers to during the match on commentary. Yeah, she says she has a fat ass.
He says her words, not mine.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you can repeat those words and not come off as a weirdo, JR. Oh man. Fidelio.
So Anna's looking for the Queen Slayer, and then Julia leads them through the ropes. And they both tumble to the floor to break the hold. So Anna gets in the ring, And then Julia slides a chair in to distract the ref. The ref takes it out of the ring. And so as Anna's going to get to bring Julia back in the ring, Julia hits her with some mist and then rolls her up to get the win. That's the only part about this match I didn't like, is like you hit the mist and you follow up with the roll up.
Oh, you got to do a move.
Yes.
Yeah, because the mist gets you discombobulated. Yeah. And then the impact of the move allows you to get the win.
You got to put your finish on or something. But I mean, I guess the one thing that justifies doing a roll up rather than a move, because I think Julia's finish is a submission, is that you roll up Anna Jay, the ref can't see the mist on her face.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah. And then we had Battle of the Belts, where a bunch of belts are on the line here.
Title defenses and stuff.
Title defenses that really mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. But it did mean we got some good matches. Orange Cassidy versus Dralistico. That was a lot of fun. Dralistico is so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Orange Cassidy gets the win here with an orange punch. And then Malachi Black shows up on the Tron. I've always considered you to be quite talented, Orange Cassidy. And I saw that losing to the house was eating you alive, and that's good, because we're not done with you just yet. And then Buddy steps forward and says, you're gracious enough to put your titles on the line. Oh, we were gracious enough to put our titles on the line. So how about you put yours up? So, yeah, that match is happening.
That'll be good.
That'll be a really good match. Yeah.
They're really, in this match, Orange is really selling his hand. Like his hand's all busted up from wrestling all the time and winning all the time.
That'd be cool if they gave that title to Buddy, to be honest with you.
That'd be pretty neat.
We'll mix it up
after that, we had a Mark Briscoe interview, and he's asked about losing to Samoa Joe at Supercard of Honor, and he says, let me explain what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to look back. I'm moving forward, baby. I'm still here. There's still a lot of fight in me. Them boys ain't going nowhere. But tonight, my friends are going to get it done in the ring, talking about the Lucha Brothers. And then Jay Lethal steps in and says, speaking of friends, Mark, how long have we known each other? 20 years? Mark's like, yeah. And Jay says, but over 20 years. And I know you had a tough loss against Samoa Joe, and I understand exactly what that feels like. But I want to let you know that you didn't let anybody down. And one reason only is that we all love you. Every time I think about the fact that we've known each other for over 20 years, and I can't be the only one who thinks this way, but how come we're not working together? I mean, it seems like the logical thing. Why don't we work together?
Yeah.
And so Mark's like, okay, that sounds like a good deal. And so Lethal extends his hand and Mark shakes it. And as soon as that happens, Sanjay Dutt, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh step in and are like, hey, yeah, welcome. You're part of the team now. Mark's looking around all super confused. He's like, I don't want to be with these guys. I just want to be with Jay Lethal. I want to be my friend. So he got like recruited and joined a faction without really realizing it.
Yeah, they sort of swindled him into the faction.
Yes.
That was sort of a new way to do it. You know, usually you get, hey, here's a T-shirt, here's like an armband or whatever, or like, hey, throw up the too sweet, are you in? And then if they give the too sweet, you know they're in.
They're in.
In this case, it was like, oh, you're in, but you don't know that you're in. Very interesting. So that's going to be endlessly entertaining, though.
Yeah, it will be.
Mark wondering why these other guys are hanging out with him and Jay Lethal.
Yeah, let's think of something else.
After that, we had the foregone conclusion of the night: Jade Cargill versus the debuting Billy Starks. Not to be confused with Ricky Starks. This was spelled with a Z.
Yes.
At the end.
Yeah, Jade gets the win here. Starks goes for a swanton. Jade gets her knees up. She looks for Jaded, however, Starks counters with an arm drag, but then Jade hits a pump kick, Jaded to get the win, and afterwards Taya comes to ringside. Jade takes a swing at her with the belt. Taya ducks that, punches Jade, puts her in the ring, is looking for a road to Valhalla, but then Jade fights out and escapes. So
after that, Alex Marvez is outside the Elite's locker room. He goes in there. Cutler and Nakazawa are inside. Cutler says, we're the only two here. We've ridden in too many ambulances lately. Blackpool Combat Club are nothing but bullies. He says, what do you do when the people stand up to bullies aren't here anymore? You stand tall, you don't back down, and you be elite. And then Nakazawa throws his headset and he says, no more.
So I think that match is happening on Dynamite.
Oh, man.
Two of them against Mox and Claudio, I think.
Another foregone conclusion on Dynamite.
Oh, man. I know. Squash is what it's going to be.
Yeah, man.
Then we get the pre-main event interview. We got Hobbs and QT in one side of the frame, Lucha Brothers on the other. So QT says this match makes sense because Hobbs has beaten Penta and Phoenix. Makes sense they'll win the tag team titles tonight. And Hobbs asks why the Lucha Brothers think they can win when individually they couldn't even beat him. And the answer to that question, of course, is QT Marshall's Hobbs' partner.
Yeah.
So Phoenix says tonight they make the first defense of the Ring of Honor tag titles. They are looking for revenge against Hobbs and QT. And then Penta says tonight we cancel QTV because they're the best tag team in the universe. If only the fate of QTV was actually on the line in this match.
I know. I'd rather watch like the Lucha Brothers TV.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. Be like a mix of like AAA programming and like Super Sabado Gigante.
Well, you know their finisher, or one of their finishers, is called Fear Factor.
Oh, and then put Fear Factor in there, like eating bugs. Cero miedo, pero no bugs. I don't know how you say bugs in Espanol.
Yeah, I don't know.
No arachnos.
Well, it's not the only thing they did on Fear Factor was eat bugs. They did have to do like crazy stunts.
There is like a Fear Factor type show somewhere. I just see this video all the time. It's usually like on my Instagram Explorer of like it's like night vision, and this guy walks into a room and there's like somebody's ass, and he puts his face right in their ass and they fart on him or something, and he's like, "What the heck?" Yeah, I don't. It shows up endlessly on my Instagram.
Your Instagram feed is something.
It's messed up. I send you pictures from it all the time, and I'm like, "What the heck?"
You sent.
I'm trying to do a thing these days where I go to the Explorer page, and then if for some reason like I got on a kick of like a bunch of Rhea Ripley stuff will show up, and so now I just want to see if I can manipulate the algorithm so it's all Rhea Ripley, just as kind of an experiment. And so I'll go to the Rhea Ripley ones and I'll hit like, and then I'll refresh it. And it'll like fill in. It's like Rubik's Cube. It'll like fill in a bunch of Rhea Ripleys. But then there's like a car crash. And then like, a bare ass.
It's the vestiges of your
of my old algorithm. Are you sure you don't want this stuff? We know you like Rhea Ripley, but are you sure you don't want a bare human ass? Are you sure you don't want a guy naked humping the windshield of a car? No, really?
That's the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I had to send that one to you. I was like, what is going on right here?
I don't know why you did, but you did.
Oh, it gets crazy.
Anyways, Phoenix wins this. QT's looking for a suplex. Phoenix reverses that into a roll-up to get the W.
Yeah, and then it just cuts before we get the best part of it was probably Hobbs' reaction to QT Marshall.
I know, or Hobbs hitting QT with some town business or something like that. That's what I want to see.
Oh,
on the day that Hobbs turns on QT and beats the hell out of him, that's going to be a great day. A great day. Oh, here we go. Mr. B makes themes here in the Twitch chat. Says, Gaki no Tsukai is the game show the clip is from. That sounds from a Japanese game show, perhaps. Yeah, man. There are plenty. I'm going to get pushed. Rhea Ripley running over somebody in a car. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. I know it's going to. One algorithm's not going to replace the other. They're going to combine them.
It's going to rawgate the algorithm. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Before we answer some questions, man, I got to mention this. I had a blast. I know you did too at Action Coast Wrestling this weekend. A slate of really awesome matches. Main evented Christina Von Eerie versus Jordan Blue. Trip Rogers tried to steal my blue, the big blue here, my blue water. He already stole my other water bottle.
Yep.
But I caught him this time trying to steal this one. But also Trip and Joe DeSoul won the Action Coast Wrestling tag team titles. If you guys go to YouTube and you do a search for Action Coast Wrestling, we have a show there. Surge a little behind on like the live events, but I'm gonna get back to cutting those this week, and those should be dropping weekly. But yeah, no, a huge. It was a sellout there at the Vita Del Oro. Great, awesome crowd, just very really lively. Alphazo won the Action Coast Wrestling Championship again off Johnny Butabi. So that was awesome. And he's coming off of a hell of a weekend because he beat Leo Rush there, I think at West Coast Pro, if I'm not mistaken, over the weekend on Saturday or on Friday, I think. So awesome to see him because he's a terrific wrestler.
Oh, Alphazo is fantastic.
He
Absolutely
really
fantastic.
So the next Action Coast Wrestling event, I think we're supposed to be. I think Supreme Pro Wrestling has like a fan expo this weekend that we're supposed to be at.
Well, that's
Action Coast is going to have
the same day as Triple Mania.
I think the Fan Expo is a little earlier in the day.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I think that's from like 2 to 4.
Okay.
So maybe we can do an hour there because Action Co is going to have a booth. So maybe we can do like an hour there. So we'll promote that a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then I probably Triple Mania will probably start at 5, I imagine.
I would think something like that, yeah.
So I think this weekend we're going to do that, yeah.
The next ACW show, it will be at Track 7 Brewing in Natomas, the Sacramento area, on April 29th. It's a matinee show, 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And then at 8 o'clock, Virgil Flynn III Productions will have a show as well.
Yeah.
From 8 to 10 that same night. So
so that's a packed
day full of beer and wrestling if you wish it to be.
Can't beat that. They always have like a good food truck out there too.
Yeah, or 2. And then last time they had a Rage Against the Machine.
Not a cover band, a tribute band.
And they were really good.
They were really good. If you close your eyes, that dude sounds like Zach De La Rocha.
Yeah.
Rocha, whatever.
After that, I believe it's May 21st. ACW will be putting on some matches at the Sacramento Taco Festival.
Again,
don't have the location for that offhand, but once we know more about it, we will let you know.
Tacos and wrestling. They'll probably have some cervezas there as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I went a few years ago, and there's a lot of booths and stuff there.
Good, awesome, very cool.
And then the next show is June 3rd. Is that correct?
June 3rd is back at the Vita Del Oro. Yeah, the same venue that we usually run at. So hopefully we'll get another sellout there. I believe the show name for that at this point is Pride and Glory.
That's my understanding as well.
Yeah. So good stuff there at Action Coast Wrestling. It's the wrestling promotion we own. We're in the wrestling business now.
We are. We're in the wrestling business.
Stumbling our way in the wrestling business. So we just last month started a podcast, and now already.
Look at that. Already got a wrestling promotion.
Look
Speaking of business, R. Jason here with the Super Chat asked, did you watch the latest episode of Succession? I have. Steve hasn't started. I'm not going to say anything about it. No. Yeah,
don't say nothing about it. No spoilers, please.
Hurry up and watch it so we can talk about it.
I know. I need to.
I mean, seriously, hurry up.
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Make haste.
Make haste. Wong Chaco says, you think they will select... Oh, by the way, I got to shout out new patrons, new YouTube channel members, and returning channel members. You guys get access to our question threads for these shows.
Yes.
And I wanted to shout out CR Music Videos, new patron, Good Old Creop, new patron, and then Ryan Hebert and Kazarn, also new patrons.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then really quickly, channel members. Let's see here. It is. Here we go. Pat Sox 1, Awesome Mawai, Cyrus X Cyrus, Chris O, Vanshun Haskins, Iruga, Mr. I Can't Think of a Name, Mike Romo, X Ryan, Desalia Jandro 1, Andrew Croson, Brandon Vaughn, Jericho Vera, Ray Ailman, Rage the Saint, Kendall Washington, this, Alberto Simas, Fantasy Phantom, Fabian Esto. Thank you very much for your channel memberships. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. WrestleNomics has the Smackdown ratings. Almost 2.5 million.
Smackdown wins again.
18 to 49 number of 0.69.
Oh, nice. That is awesome. That's huge.
That's a pretty high number.
That's a big number for the game.
Pretty high number. Got a question here from Timor. Says, how long after this draft do you think we'll see someone from one brand show up on an episode of another brand? As long as there's unified tag or world champions, it's bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If they split the titles, it'll probably be less likely. But as long as there's unified champs, yeah, it'll happen pretty quick.
So Wong asks, do you think they will select GMs or representatives for each brand? And if so, who do you think will represent their brand, the brands at the draft? I would love if they did. You know, Triple H has been pretty good at like making things seem logical. But given that Adam Pearce has been like the only guy that's been sort of under Triple H in storyline, I don't know how they're going to approach it. It'd be nice if we're looking at a competitive situation, or are they just doing this to shake things up? You know, I'd prefer the former, obviously.
Yeah. Patrick Kennedy says, you read the article that said Dom throwing the drink in his sister's face at Mania was improvised. And has Dom had the greatest growth in less than a year for a superstar that isn't a main eventer? It's been pretty remarkable the last, 6 months?
Yeah.
seeing his growth. It's been something else.
It's been phenomenal. It really has been. PO456 says, what, if any, crossovers would you like to see between WWE and UFC now that they're under the same umbrella? I'll be honest with you, I don't follow UFC that much anymore. So I can't really speak on it. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see any crossover. I don't need it. They're two entirely different things, and I don't think you need it. You know what I want to see crossover?
I agree.
UFC fighters getting paid more.
Yeah,
that's what I
want
want to see. Because from what I understand, they don't get paid very well.
No, I believe it's like a percentage of UFC's revenue. It's quite small what the fighters get paid. Yeah, and it's like it's less than, I think. Last I heard, I think Meltzer had numbers. It was a couple of years ago, so maybe things have changed. That UFC, as a percentage of UFC revenues, get paid less than WWE talent. WWE talent gets paid way less than talent in any other major sporting league. Yeah. So Cat Dad 7 says, with Theory beating names like Edge, Ray, and Cena, do you think they might try turning him into a delusional legend killer? I mean, that might be a step up from his character being I beat John Cena.
Yeah, the legend killer thing I think would be good. I think that's good territory that they've left alone for a little while that you can come back to. We totally did not talk about this. Jeremy Kreklow said, did either of you guys watch Sakura Genesis? I heard that the tag match was phenomenal and frickin' Sonata beat Okada.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome for Sonata.
That's awesome.
Many years coming. That he's had several opportunities. I can't remember exactly when the title shot was. It was years ago, but he had this great sit down interview. Where it's like, wow, I understand who Sonata is as a character now. And it was so good. Yeah. And I'm happy they came around and are giving him the push now and put that title on him.
And he's in a faction called Five Guys. Five Guys.
I know.
It's a burger chain here. Kazarn says, what are some NXT call-ups you'd like to see in the draft? The Creeds.
Pretty deadly.
Pretty deadly. Cameron Grimes finally.
Yeah. Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Have a rematch against Carmella between now and the draft, and then he can get called up.
Yeah, that's good. Mike Honcho says, you guys see WWE bringing in any nostalgia acts for short runs like they did with the Headbangers a few years back? And if so, who are some of the random talents you'd like to see get another run?
Oh, they did that with the Dudleys a few years ago, too.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
I'll say this. Triple H seems intent on, for the most part. I mean, they just re-signed Logan Paul, so it's not a universal thing. He seems more focused on building his brand, using the talent that's there on a week-to-week basis.
Right.
And not relying on legends.
Yeah.
Not relying, again, outside the example of Logan Paul and on occasion Pat McAfee. Not using celebrities. So.
You know what, man? I guess I wouldn't mind. So given that they're still active, I think the crowd would pop for like Heath Slater and Rhino. I think they still do fun stuff in Impact.
Yeah.
And they still have really good chemistry. They've continued on that stuff to a degree there. So I mean that's the one team that sort of comes to mind, I guess. I think there's probably plenty in the women's division that could give, like, I'd love to see Mickie James come back. I think she's dealing with like something right now, but I'd love to see her come back for like a run, like a good run, not like the run last time. I'd like to see that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Mr. Sinister asked, do you guys think the draft is really necessary? I mean, Raw superstars are on SmackDown and vice versa, or is this just Vince's way to get ratings up after last week's debacle?
Maggie says, what's going on with Mickie? I thought she was injured for a second.
She is. I think she has a rib injury. That's why she couldn't wrestle at the last Impact show.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is the draft necessary? Yeah, I think it's a good way to mix things up. I think like what you said in the first place, Triple H, if he's got a vision for how these rosters should shake out, the draft is a perfect way to do that.
Yeah. And then don't do it on an annual basis. Like maybe have, like some trades or something throughout the year, but then like do the draft every 3 years or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have no more questions on the YouTube. Do you have more on
All right,
Patreon?
this seems like if there's some here that we haven't necessarily covered.
Yeah, if we don't answer your question on Patreon or the other thing, or YouTube channel memberships, is because we've already probably talked about it during the show.
Andrew Connolly asked, do you think after hearing about Vince not being at Raw, Triple H will try to do the Raw he wanted to do last week? I kind of felt like some of SmackDown was probably what he wanted to do on Raw last week.
I think that's a possibility. I mean, again, knowing that the draft is coming up, look, last week on Raw, somebody mentioned this before, and I said we were going to talk about it on the show a little bit, and we really didn't. Riddle, right? People in general, I think, like Riddle. I'm not a huge fan of the guy. I think he's good in the ring. I've always found his character to be way too one-dimensional. Yeah. There's been some cool stuff with RK Bro, right? Yeah. But beyond that, he just doesn't do anything for me, you know?
Yeah. No,
and so, but that was a return. And I think that Triple H had some stuff in mind. He had the mini tournament for the women's #1 contender, probably a lot more wrestling involved on the show.
Yeah.
But the Cody Brock stuff still would have happened. I think Vince coming in just cocked up the show because we had 2 minutes of wrestling as opposed to probably 25 or 20 minutes of wrestling if they had one of the women's matches in that slot instead. And that just cocked up the entire show. And then you have, just stuff that felt like it was too much in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And that was the Vince aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that Triple H wanted probably landed there. Maybe tonight on Raw we'll get one of the, like, a #1 contender match for Bianca. We'll figure out who she's going to be fighting next. So yeah, maybe elements of things that he wanted in that Raw would be in this Raw, and some of it might have been in SmackDown as well.
Yeah. We can end on this question and then give a call to Paul. Simon Schmidt here says, in the past few years, there have always been a lot of stories continuing through WrestleMania to Backlash and even longer. That appears to also be the case this year. Does it feel a lot more frustrating because we expected endings to a lot of stories that are seemingly past their peak and will still continue? It almost feels like a good TV series that's been on air for a few too many seasons.
Are you talking about the Bloodline here?
Well, that's just one example, I think, of stories that are kind of continuing on. I mean, Finn still bringing up Edge.
I think, yeah, but I kind of feel like he is done with Edge. And he needed some way to justify
Finn coming out and going, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, the two storylines that make sense to continue, the Bloodline and then Ray and Dom are, I think, the only ones continuing.
Yeah, it's not like Asuka and Bianca are still on a thing that we can tell. They got fresh tag champions for the women's division. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the tag title, the men's tag titles are wrapped up in Bloodline stuff, maybe still. I don't know. But yeah, we had Brawling Brutes and Imperium, but I feel like that might have been the punctuation mark on that. Maybe.
Could be. It could be, or Sheamus could kind of use that for justification to get another tag title or an IC title shot. My team beat your team, Gunther. I want another crack at it.
Could be. That could be.
Could be.
I was hoping they were going to use that stuff to motivate some real Butch stuff. Yeah. Some Pete Dunne stuff. Yeah. But I don't know if that's the case.
It seemed like it. He was very excited about winning the match, though.
Pete Dunne. Carried him. Yeah, they lifted him up. I was like, oh, is that a thing? Does that mean something?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But he just wrestled Gunther a couple weeks ago on SmackDown.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, hold on a second.
Call Paul. You keep forgetting about the calls with Paul.
Oh, man.
You got something you'd rather be doing, Steve, rather than doing your Triple H?
Oh, my stomach's rumbling, so probably like eating.
You'd rather eat than do your Triple H impression.
Yeah, maybe I'll go get some food while you talk to Paul.
How can you do that?
Here you go. What's that? What?
Never mind. Go ahead.
All right. There we go. Oh, it's me. It's me. God damn. This wasn't expected. I didn't know I was going to be calling in, but here I am. It's me, damn it. Hold on a second. I'm going to put you on with my idiot son-in-law. I own this place. Oops.
You got nothing to do today, do you, Vince?
I got nothing to do. I'm not at Raw, damn it. Gosh, I'm not at Raw. Hold on a second. Let me put you on with my dumb son-in-law.
Oh,
God damn. I just want to remind you I still own this place. still own going in Raw, damn you.
No, you've never owned going in Raw.
I own it. The name on the thing says McMahon.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Oh,
No, it doesn't.
God damn it. Yes. Oh, that was weird. Oh, hold on a second. Triple H is back. Oh, look. Hey, look at me. I look like my dad here. Hey, look. This is how I'm getting around everybody. Vince not being here. As I put this wig on and I act like I'm here, and I'm like, no, Dad, it's okay. Look, I look like you. What's your question today? This is off the rails. This is totally off the rails.
Yeah, it is really off the rails. This Raw preview, I guess. Do you want me to do it? Are you busy?
No, I can do it right now. Look, I'm acting like my dad. That's how I'm getting around, Whenever there's a crap show, I just say it's Vince.
Oh, my God.
Like, hey, guess what? You know what? Smackdown was all me. It was all me.
I know. I could tell.
No, I meant Raw, man. Last week's Raw was all me, too. All right, so tonight we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Becky Lynch and Lita for the titles.
Who's winning that match?
Well, you can't just ask me those questions. Who's going to win this match? I don't know. Look, I can tell you that Lita and Becky Lynch are planning to win, but that doesn't. Dad might text me and say, "No, it's going the other way." Yeah.
Wow.
Anything can happen tonight because
Let me ask you this: why is Matt Riddle not going to have a match against The Miz tonight?
Because nobody wants to see that match. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a fair point.
I'm trying to give the people what they want. Nobody wants to see that shit. Next question.
What else is on?
The aftermath of Brock Lesnar's brutal assault on Cody Rhodes. Cody's going to come out and address his future with the WWE.
Oh yeah, what is he going to say?
Oh, he's going to say, I love it here. It's the greatest place on earth to be. Everybody should be lucky to even have a contract here. Most of these wrestlers should be working free gratis for us. Drew McIntyre, don't worry about your contract.
Wow.
You should do it because you love it. Don't get greedy and ask for money.
Essentially, you're asking wrestlers to work for exposure.
Listen, the exposure here at WWE, 18 billion fans of WWE.
Not even that many people in the world.
14.9 trillion eyeballs on WWE's product.
That doesn't check out, no.
68.9 terabytes of information across each user data.
Definitely not true.
Paradigm.
Synergy?
Disruptive technology is WWE. The name
How many
of the
verticals
game.
are you employing to reach all these people?
Oh, all the verticals, all the horizontals. Are you ready?
For
We're
what?
going to have a draft. Can't wait for the draft.
What is that noise?
It's going to be fun stuff. Anyways, I got to go. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I told you I was eating the whole time. That couldn't have been me.
I literally heard the plastic start to make the noise as Triple H was hanging up.
No, it was probably just Triple H.
From your cereal there.
I was just Triple H. I don't have any plastic in this thing.
Lies.
No, man.
It's pretty common for a cereal box to have a plastic
How'd the
bag.
call go? Was there some screwy stuff going on? I saw there was like a different IP that happened.
There was a mistake by Steve that led to Vince being on first.
Who's Steve? Steve at WWE.com?
No, you.
From what I understand, the communications guy at WWE is Steve also. I had to get in contact with people because Vince kept on calling in. Did he call in again today?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
How'd that go?
It was abject disaster, of course.
Oh, it sounds like a mess, dude.
I just try. I mean, when Vince calls, I just kind of shut down, and I just wait for it to be over.
Probably a smart move. Hey, let me ask you something.
What?
Now that we got more ads with Manscaped, any chance you'd bring on JR to talk about his experience with Manscaped?
It wouldn't be my first choice, no.
All right. What would be your second choice?
Not JR.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about it. Anyways, I want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks to Vince and Triple H, I guess, for calling in. And, yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye, everybody.